Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 66 of the Casual Weebs podcast. You guys had a fantastic week. This week in anime has been honestly pretty impressive. It's been pretty solid. I've been happy with it, even though, I've been kind of gone for a week, so I'm kind of behind a little bit. I did watch the three animes we're talking about, To Be Hero X, Windbreaker, and Fire Force. All three of them were phenomenal, but I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get some food and to get absolutely caught up tonight. Dude, on the way home, I
Yeah.
can't believe I missed it. My sister hit me, was like, yo, after we got off the flight, she's like, did you hear what the little kid and his dad was saying? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, they saw your shirt. And they're like, oh, look, it's Kaiju 8. Because I was wearing the Kaiju 8 shirt in the airport. And the mom was like, what are you guys
Let's
talking about?
go.
And they're like, that's the show that we watch, his shirt. And I'm like, oh, dude, we talk about anime dads being deadbeats that just leave to create the OP, kid. Dude, what a wholesome father-son dynamic to just be watching Kaiju 8 together. Like, that's a incredible dad. Goated dad. That's all I gotta say. That's awesome.
W dad, definitely. That's awesome. And it's funny like how like popular it's gotten. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like maybe Naruto was like that back in the day, but love to see it. W dad right there.
Yeah, dude, Kaiju 8, I feel like it's not slept on, but I think its popularity is slept on, if that makes any sense. Like, if you look at the Crunchyroll reviews, it has a ton of reviews now. A lot of people know about it. Like I said, a father and a son, we're watching Kaiju 8. That's really cool that was, like, noticed at an airport. But I'm like, yo, like, that's cool that, Kaiju 8 is getting some love, because it is a great anime. And it announced, guys, it's over. 2 more chapters, and then it's done. That is... Oh, I mean, like a lot of these animes that have been coming out, a lot of these premieres have been killing it. They've been so good, but they're ongoing. You know what I mean? They're still going strong. This is the first one that really excited a lot of people, including me. I'm always gonna show that kaiju love. But yeah, it's gonna be over soon. So we're gonna have a couple of seasons of it. From what I've heard, from what you said, it's a pretty amazing story. So at least we have something to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Super, super good. It's like in a way disappointing, but in a way like really good.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 more chapters, obviously, I would love if there was like 700, but not every story is like cut out like that. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like it is the perfect amount of time, the right pace and everything. And obviously the author rocks, so they could do something in the future, but the story is just sensational. I think you'll love it.
There is like a certain beauty, a certain appreciation for these shorter animes, and like, I say shorter, like Kaiju 8 could still probably be like 4 seasons. You know what I mean? Five
That's what I'm
seasons.
guessing.
That's not
Probably
necessarily
4.
short. You know what I mean? But like Hell's Paradise, we're getting season 2, which is I'm gonna say is probably the last season, the finale. Beginning of next year. So like you gotta kind of love these shorter animes because they stories do hit on those. I mean, you know what I mean? They get straight to the point. They're action packed, lots of twists, and it leaves you wanting more at the end. So we have something to look forward to. It's bittersweet, but if you're reading the manga, I hope it has the ending that you guys are looking forward to. But let's get right into it. Let's just To Be Hero X. I mean, we just have to each and every week.
Oh, yeah, dude. And like I was trying not to like watch it with like the same level of like fandom. I'm like, let's be a little critical here. Dude, still delivers. So good. I was a little I don't want to say like hesitant to see how they would make Lucky Cian like a hero because she didn't really
Yeah.
want to be a hero. Like, how will they execute this? And again, just nailed it. Really well done. Her like the choreographing of like her fight moves, I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
Like the guitar turning into like the bow and arrow. I'm like, this
So
is
sick.
badass. Really, really sick. I thought they did an amazing job with it.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I think there's been a couple times where we're like, oh, we'll see how this plays out, and like they deliver every time. 2B Hero X does not miss.
That's the cool thing that they kind of like made sure they stayed true to is that she didn't really want to be a hero. You know what I mean? Like she was kind of like, "Hey guys, like I don't really want to be a hero. I just want to do music." And that's the vibe we've gotten through the first like 2 episodes, right? So the fact that they kind of kept that and it was not like she wasn't like, "Oh yeah, like yeah, let me fight crime. Let's do this." And she was kind of like, "I don't know about this." And like, "Hey, listen, couple of lessons, you'll be great. Like you'll know what you're doing." And she went out there and like it made sense of why she went and fought. She wanted to go check on the orphanage, and then orphanage wasn't doing so well. We ended up finding out, is she lucky or is she stealing luck from other people? That was a really cool dynamic
Ooh.
to kind of get you like second guessing, like, oh, like is she like, good heart, but like is she doing like bad things, indirectly? I thought that was a great aspect, but ends up kind of going to save the orphanage. It was cool. She didn't look like an absolute pro, you know what I mean? But like she was pretty accurate. Like she was fucking up with that bow. Like that was pretty impressive.
Dude, she was picking people off, and she
Mm-hmm.
was like hitting the wounds, not just like
Yeah,
bringing the
precision,
people
bro.
from the orphanage. Yeah, very precise. Like yeah, yeah, she was good. I thought I thought it was really cool. And while I was watching it, I really liked that aspect and like the examples they used of like, well, what's the truth behind her luck? Well, she's just stealing it from other people.
Mhm.
Like if you get that job, well, now somebody's left unemployed, which I'm like, all right, that's not totally true. But in a way, yeah, if somebody gets the job, that means everybody else who applied for it doesn't get that job.
Yeah.
And the other example I think they used was if you find money on the ground, well, didn't somebody lose money? So like you're coming up on somebody else's misfortune. I'm like, that's a really good dynamic to play into, even though
Mhm.
it's kind of like, it's a little facetious. It's not totally true. You're right. It was like making you second guess. I'm like, damn, is she actually not lucky? She's just like siphoning everyone's luck.
Yeah.
And then the way they resolved that at the end, kind of like the plane footage and her battle with Lou, I thought that was really really cool. And like it brought it full circle. It was very wholesome. And they're still like young. It's not like they're full grown adults or like even
Mhm.
Isol and Lin Ling are like a little bit older. So it was kind of cool to see Cien and Lou resolve that, without like full scale war per
Yeah.
se.
Well, it's so tough because there's so many things to kind of get into here. You know what I mean? There's so many like plot lines to explore because this was the end of the Lucky Cyan arc. Gotta say, very good. One of the things I want to dive into, like you were kind of saying, we have all these other heroes. Kind of surprised she was number 7. Is that like wrong? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like our boy in the beginning, nice. I feel like he kind of like had a moment that would have risen him above 10. You know what I mean? The Isol, like imagine being in that world and spectating that battle. You're telling me he only gets a 9? You know what I mean? But Lucky Sign who puts on a couple of concerts gets 7. Like I don't know. I feel like they kind of inflated her popularity a little bit. I don't know. I feel like my point 9 should have been a little higher. Even Isol, I don't. It's gonna be kind of interesting to do our votings throughout the season and kind of be like, all right, yeah, who's gonna be 2B Hero X? But yeah, it's something I just kind of noticed because I'm like, she didn't like pop out too much in that world to me.
No, I agree. And like she's cool. Her character
Mm-hmm.
is really cool, but like she's not necessarily a hero. She's basically like a rock star with like,
Exactly. Yeah.
picking up the pieces of like her traumatic past, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But like she's not necessarily like out there for justice or like saving kids and everything, which like yeah, I kind of felt like Nice got done a little dirty.
But his whole
I
thing
think
was
there's like
live streamed. You know what I mean? Like his whole thing was live streamed where he was saving his girl, and he's like, "Yo,
yes.
I'm not I'm a nobody, but like I want to be a somebody type of thing." I feel like that's something that a lot of people can like relate to and kind of like get on board on. His nicest fan base saw that and were like, "Hey, we know he's not the real Nice, but like I want to follow this guy." You know what I mean? Like he stole a hero's fan base. That's pretty impressive. I feel like that situation, that moment, would have grabbed people's attention more than someone who's putting on a couple of concerts. It's not like she's been performing for a while. You know what I mean? It's like she had like I think like 2 or 3 concerts, and then she hit number 7.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
get
she
good.
it's not even like she was like touring or had this like,
Yeah,
long-standing career prior. You're right. That's a good point.
I think a lot of her popularity might be a little bit of selfishness because, like, not from her, but like from other people, kind of like she was the blessed maiden, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, please give me luck so I can have a better life," and everyone just wanted to believe in her way more because they wanted to selfishly have better things. You know what I mean? I think that could be a part of it, which I feel extremely bad for if that's the case too. But she's like just being completely used by everybody.
You make a really good point with that because I mean that's basically like her character up to this point, just being used and
Yeah.
abused for her luck. But I think a kind of understated aspect of this episode that was awesome was Queen kind of being introduced, but she also brings out a little more confidence in Cian, and she's like, I forget the context of the conversation, but the whole time I didn't really trust like the boss or like the leader of the organization, and then he's basically like comes down on her. I'm like, all right, there, he switched up. Like this guy's no good. But she's like, that wasn't my intentions, and he's like, well, it doesn't matter what your intention was, and what's right and wrong is subjective to what people think in this world. It's
Yeah.
like he actually makes a really good point, and that it's like a classic example of like, yeah, your boss is kind of a dick, but like
He's
still good at what he
right.
does. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he makes a good point. And then Queen, of course, steps in to break the tension and kind of calm everything down. She brings up that, yeah, like they have the recording from the plane footage, but yeah, crazy episode. Like when you start putting all the pieces together, it's like, damn, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and that was the cool thing too, because like he even said he's like, listen, it doesn't matter like what they think. They have the facts. They have enough to make their own opinion what else can you say? You know what I mean? So the only thing you can introduce is the audio recording, which was absolutely incredible. Before we get into that, the Queen, oh my god, amazing, incredible. First of all, I love her relationship with Lucky Cyan. It seems so cool, as just being like that older sister to her. You know what I mean? I think that that's really sweet because like the hero world seems very lonely. You know what I mean? Very isolated. So the fact that
Yes.
someone as young as Lucky Cyan and who has been through as so much as Lucky Cyan, and she's never had anybody, you know what I mean? Everyone who's there for her or she's had has always just wanted something. They've always had an agenda, you know, a purpose of why they're going to be nice to her and take care of her. So the fact that she has like this older sister kind of aspect in Queen who can like look after her, you know, mentor her and like mentor her and be there for her, I think is sick. But what I thought was really really cool is that she didn't like turn her back. You know what I mean? Because they talking about like, oh yeah, Lucky Cyan's like taking people's luck, and they're like, yeah, Queen got beat by a nobody. You know what I mean? And that's like a really embarrassing thing, especially because she seems very business oriented, where she has goals and structure of how she's gonna get to like this point at this time. You know what I mean? As a hero, so the fact that you're gonna lose to a nobody is like very damaging to that. And it's not like she held that against Lucky Cyan. She's like, dude, like it happens. You know what I mean? Like that's on me. That's not on you. I healed. That's all that matters. You know what I mean? We're good. You know, and her healing came from listening to her music, and you know what I mean? It kind of like brought her back. You know, so the fact that like she didn't like was like everybody else was like, oh my god, I can't take responsibility for anything. It is your fault. You know what I mean? She was like, no, like dude, it's cool. Like you know what I mean? She was there for him. Like yo, the Queen, amazing. And that's insanely mature too, because I'm pretty sure she's only like 20. You know what I mean? I don't think that she's like that old. So that's like a
I
huge
was
thing.
yeah, I was kind of wondering because like, I mean, let's be honest, it's tough to tell like anime character
Yeah.
ages. Ichigo, you know, Ichigo from Bleach, that guy is built like a grown man, but he's 15. You know what I
Bro's
mean? Like,
25. Like,
yeah, at least, get out of here. You see that a lot in anime, but
mm,
that was my first thought. Like, instead of like deflecting responsibility or culpability from like, you know, I just wasn't prepared or didn't train hard enough, whatever the answer is, she was like, oh, if anything, your music helped me, you know, cheer up and like get stronger. I was like, that is maturity. That is a good leader right there. So yeah, that instantly made me like Queen's character even more because that's really what Lucky Cyan needs. Like, you know, not necessarily a role model, but like
mhm.
support.
And yo, that's what I can't wait for is the Queen's arc because, like I said, from like the trailers and teasers and stuff, it looks like her arc is straight up aura farming from start to finish. Like it just looks
Yes.
so cool and badass. So that's gonna be really cool. But yeah, like hopefully we see Lucky Cyan too in her arc, and we see continue crossover with stuff because I think that that's just like really cool and it's been a nice little Easter egg. Like oh like we know that person, you know what I mean? It's just like I don't know, it's cool like learning about these characters and kind of like getting attached to them, like oh like they're awesome for this reason. So Lucky Cyan arc was definitely awesome. The ending, the getting the audio, so good. The fact that everyone thought that like she was the reason why they crashed. We have the calamity, and we found out finally what the dean said. It was, hey, she caused your parents' death. Like, well, did not expect that one. Also, didn't expect his parents to be next to her parents, and that instead of her taking everyone's luck, they gave her luck. You know what I mean? I thought that was awesome as well. So I feel like the whole aspect of one finding out how she got her abilities, two finding out what was said and the everything that happened with the plane accident, and then three the kind of finale with her kind of saving the orphanage, just phenomenal, so good. And by the way, she struck again. She summoned Shakun for the second time. I mean, like she's a miracle worker. Like it's insane. Not once but twice.
Such an OP ability right there. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Amazing finale and like
Mhm.
kind of like going back to the first episode of her arc where Lou's singing that song and like playing it on the guitar and she's like, "Oh, I feel like I've heard that before." That's the song they're singing to like calm her down when the
Yep.
plane is going down. I'm like, "Damn, that is excellent writing right there." But yeah, like it feels like an incredibly packed episode, which it was, but
Yeah.
they managed to like bring all these plot lines together and like cap it off with a beautiful finale that was really well written and like ties everything together, you know, in 3 episodes. Like we say mini arc, but it really did feel like that because it was packed. And I gotta say, I think so far, Lucky Cyan was probably my favorite. That was really well done. And the music, like the music when she goes back to the orphanage and like it's fighting and stuff, solid. Very, very good.
All right. Well, if she's your favorite, what's your top three right now out of those three?
I would say probably Lucky Cyan, Nice, and Esol. I feel like Nice kind of like it's the like the recency bias. It's easy to
Yeah.
like forget about him just because he was first, but
Yeah.
that was still like a wild arc. We were freaking out after that first episode.
I gotta say, mine's like the same but swapped. So mine's Nice, Lucky Cyan, and then Isol. Isol was dope. Like it was really really cool, but I feel like it just didn't have as good of an ending as Nice and as Lucky Cyan. Like Isol's ending was sick
Yeah.
because he fought the actual Isol, you know what I mean, and like became him. But I feel like it just felt so dramatically different, you know what I mean? Where it was like we
Yeah.
had a set amount of episodes where it's like, all right, here's our guy, here's the new MC. All right, let's get to know him, and then he just on the last episode just completely changes. You know what I mean? And then we see him in the tower, like just very serious, very like aggressive. Like he's very persistent in his journey for revenge. Just like looking out, and it's like this doesn't feel like the same guy. You know what I mean? And not in like a good way where it's like, oh, they grown. It's like Lucky Science, completely different from episode one, but like it didn't leave that ending good feeling. You know what I mean? It's like there's too much left unsaid. You know what I mean? With him.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like shorter maybe, but it also
Yeah.
like the dynamic was a lot darker, which I don't want to say was a bad thing because it
Oh
was
no.
still a sick arc.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't hit the same way where you're like, ah, you know what I mean? Really feels good, which I think those other two arcs did. So it'll be interesting to kind of see like with these other heroes, like especially like I don't think all the heroes are like good. You know what I mean? Like in like a in a sense that like they're all fighting for justice or like they're saving
Okay.
people. Like I'm sure we'll get other darker heroes. I guess is like a more general way to put it.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting to think too, is because everyone's getting a different amount of episodes for their arc, and Isol it feels like he needed one more episode just because you left us on such a weird like it was like it isn't turn and then end. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta let that breathe a little bit, explain that a little bit, before you end it. So it's gonna be interesting to see if any of these other characters get a proper amount of episodes, or if some of them feel again cut short. So I'm pretty sure Nice was 4 episodes, Lucky Sign was 4 episodes, but I'm pretty sure Isol was 3. So maybe not having that fourth episode, kind of like because it wasn't bad, but like yeah, it was the third. So it's like hopefully moving forward, some of the other characters, it feels good.
I totally agree with you. The only thing is we know we're getting one episode for
Number one
Hero
villain,
X, right?
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely gonna tear me up because the episode's gonna be fucking awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and then the season's gonna be done. And we'll be like, all right, I need season 2 right now.
Well, here's my conspiracy theory. All right, here's my little crafting theory. We speculated that we saw him this arc, right? Last episode, 2 episodes ago. I have a feeling, because he's the very last episode, I have a feeling he's going to pop up a lot more and more and more in a lot of the other
Hmm.
arcs. And then his episode is just going to tie it all together. You know what I mean? Because we are going to be getting into the higher, numbered, higher ranked, heroes. So I feel like he's going to appear more in those.
Very good point. And it was like kind of understated. It wasn't like, oh, here's the number one hero. So like
Yeah.
he didn't really stand out in a way, but people were picking up on that. So you make a good point there. I definitely think we will see he'll get like cameos and stuff or have bits and
Hmm.
pieces, but yeah, his episode will probably tie things together. It'll be a good finale.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know too, there is okay. If you look online, you can just look up To Be Hero X, season one, like watch or schedule, like release schedule, whatever it is, and there's like a picture, and it'll show you the character and then how many episodes they have, and then when the episodes come out, like the dates. In the middle of the season, there's an episode where it's just a question mark and it shows the tower, and it's like, what
Oh
is this
yeah,
episode? I wonder if he has something to do with that, like big time. You know what I mean? So that
that's a
could
good
be
point.
a good thing too.
And we haven't hit on that in the story. Like we keep foreshadowing like the next heroes and stuff. Like we
Hmm.
got Queen, we got Lucky Cyan, and you've kind of seen bits and pieces of like, all right, this is where we're going next. Like you
Yeah.
could figure it out. We haven't heard anything in any like dialogue or like scenes really focusing on the tower. Could it be like, the higher ups, like some of the dudes who are sitting at that table, or guys and girls like the leaders?
Yeah.
We didn't really get anything on that. Maybe that was a little Easter egg, but
Maybe it was how
yeah, I'm
heroes
excited
were
for that.
created. That
Yeah,
could
it
be a
could
thing
just be
too.
like
The top 10.
straight up lore, or
Hmm.
like yeah, how they got to this point. So it's kind of cool. They're keeping some mystery in it. We don't really totally know everything we're getting yet.
Yeah, which is going to be awesome. But I mean, what an arc. I think the Lucky Siren arc was phenomenal. It was really, really good. The music was incredible. Hopefully, we're going to get more of that. But I mean, I know we're guaranteed to get more of that because every song so far to be Hero X has been dropping, has been a banger. It's been incredible. But very
So
excited.
good.
Yeah, very excited for the Queen arc. That is going to be awesome. And then very excited to see what comes after that. I mean, again, we say it like every episode. All these characters look absolutely incredible, like so cool. So to learn more about them and to get their backgrounds and kind of like their arcs, I'm really really excited. Hope you guys are too. Let's get into Windbreaker or Fire Force?
We'll do Windbreaker because the end of that got me excited. I feel
Oh
like
my god, yes.
it was like a real feel good episode until the very end, and then you're
Mhm.
like, ooh, shit, like this might go south.
Well, like, so what? Who is he? All right, should we wait for that? Like, okay, so this episode was the past two episodes because we're the for Windbreaker and Fire Force, we'll be talking about the past two, which is sick. So the past two episodes have been a ton of fighting, just incredible fighting. The lieutenants, Tsubaki's lieutenants, so cool. Like honestly, we talk about like
Yeah,
different fight styles for the different personalities. They have to have the coolest fight style. The way that they're so perfectly in sync, the shit that they were doing, I'm like, yo, like they might be my favorites when it comes to fighting. Like they are so badass and sick.
and that's like just what is like really great about Windbreaker. Like you get those characters that match their personality with their fighting style. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was really cool. And even Tsubaki, like we finally get to see her in action and like very unique, you know what I mean? Kind of matches the whole like pole dancing thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really neat.
The
And then just like
dancing.
cool, yeah, the dancing, like it fits like her fighting style. So I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was cool. But also like the two kind of like mentalities that were going at it with like the group that's hired versus, um who what I forget the guy's name. They have a group name too. Like the
Oh, the guys in suits.
Coasties. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot the name. It's I can't remember names, bro. It's a disaster.
It's like kind of long too, but
Mm-hmm.
like, the other good guys, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Like their ideals clashing in each other, I thought was really good because it's not just like black and white, and I thought that was another really
Mm-hmm.
good example of it.
Dude, it's what's really cool is what everything Windbreaker kind of does, right? Because we're constantly introduced to not only different fighting styles for these different personalities and different styled characters, but we talk about the character designs are phenomenal in this anime, but it's different perspectives to fighting. Because Umamiya talked about it being a conversation, right? He's like, "Oh, our fists do the talking," whereas Subaki looks at it like a dance. You know what I mean? Looks at it like a taking of turns, like a mixed choreography, which is like really cool. It's like a really interesting way, and it's cool how they have like different mentalities when it comes to fighting and what fighting is. It's really cool how they find like different ways to express it, which I think is like really cool because it's not just like beating the fuck out of each other. You know what I mean? It makes it a little bit more than that, which I don't know. I think it's like really dope. So that was something that was like really cool that we saw something else of in this arc or this little episode. But I cannot wait to see that going forward more is kind of like how do some of the other like kings or other characters, view fighting? How do they, look at it? So like that is something that I really look forward to. I think that they're doing an awesome job and it like is pretty sick. The thing I really liked about this episode and this arc has been how they're making them like the broken heroes in a way. You know what I mean? Where it was like they didn't just beat him and then like, oh yeah, you're fodder, you're shit, you're an evil piece of shit, get out of here. Like some of the other guys we've been against, it was kind of like, yo, we kind of like feel for them. You know what I mean? Like they're literally starving. Like, can you blame them for like going after
Oh,
people to beat the fuck out of them for money? Like they literally don't have food. Like I felt for them.
you're right. It gives Windbreaker more depth and like the bad guys, so to speak, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more depth and like compassion when they're like literally starving and they start the leader starts that group to like pick up jobs and get work so that they can eat instead of like the cookie analogy, how it's constantly getting split into more pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can definitely empathize with them, and like their intentions were still good. They were just literally picking up jobs to feed themselves. And like it was cool that Subaki and the other guy like kind of empathized with him, and they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. We get it. And they kind of like change, you know what I mean? They have a change of heart, and like
Yeah.
all the guys on the other team are absolutely behind them. So I thought that was a really cool moment. But I definitely think moving forward, the next guys we're gonna meet, you get to meet Endo at the end of that episode. Definitely a piece of shit. Definitely not
Yeah.
very redeemable, and that it's the hardships made them who they were. Now this guy's just a psycho.
Yeah, now we're getting back, to the evil, to the like grimy, to the like fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like that's what we need. But it was a cool little buffer that we got this arc. I think it was really cool. I really like those guys. I like how they're like, hey, like we have jobs for you. You know what I mean? Like you can just work, and we can like help you guys get food. And they're like, all right, bet. And like, yeah, by the way, I don't know if we have jobs for everybody, because there's like a lot of guys.
Yeah, their squad was huge. Like, all right, yeah, and they keep rattling places off. Oh, the ramen shop. This guy needs help.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool, but very big group.
But dude, that fight was absolutely awesome. One thing I do want Windbreaker to kind of like, I get it, I liked it. Let's stop it. is it's getting way too repetitive of the person who's being saved being like, "Hey, I'll sacrifice myself. I just want it to stop," and then being like, "Fuck you. Think of the people fighting for you," because like it's cool. It's something good to think of. You know what I mean? How like if someone's doing something for you, like don't like trample that. Don't ruin that. You know what I mean? Like they're doing it for you. Like be grateful. You know, understand where their feelings are coming from. But like every character, you know, it's been every arc that's had that same thing, that same conversation, that same scolding. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, Wimber, you guys got to kind of move past that. We got to get to something else because I feel like this arc, that aspect was just a little too repetitive.
Yeah, and like I get, Shizuka's kind of like a young girl, and like
Mm-hmm.
you get her intentions, but I'm definitely with you. I agree 100%. I took it as like Tsubaki's, kind of like monologue to her, like, yeah, we're basically out there getting our asses kicked for you, and you want to like sacrifice yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it's like disrespectful to us and the people like trying to protect you. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, all right, perfect. Let's like leave that right there and like have that lesson be learned by everybody now. You're right, because like not necessarily that it's bad, it's just like overdone, and in less than 2 seasons we've seen it a couple times. So yeah, definitely kind of take that next step and get away from that like plot device.
Yeah, it's been like 4 or 5 times too. Like over 2 seasons, it's been a lot. It's been Sakura. He's had one of those moments. The blonde-haired kid that wants to fight. He's had one of those moments. You know what I mean? Like there's been like quite a few people with that arc we had in the beginning of the season where they went to save that one dude's friend. We had one of those moments then. It's like all right, we get it. Like it's a good like thing to like kind of like point out and like teach people, kind of like have people realize. You know what I mean? Because it's a real thing. But it's like, yeah, you've done it enough. We gotta move on. Other than that, it's great. I love how the villains are always kind of like different. Some of them aren't always bad. Some of them are pretty good. I would have loved it if the singer related more to those guys, but she had that rough life, and that like the red light district saved her. I would have liked it if she reached out and was kind of like, "Hey, this place can save you too," type of thing, instead of being like, "Oh, I'll be the sacrifice," I'll be the sacrificial lamb. So like that would have been a bit better, but like I think the overall arc was still really really good. I think it was still really enjoyable. I'm absolutely loving the fights. The fighting was really good. The characters we were introduced to, I love Tsubaki. He's the homie. He's so sick, and we were really excited for his fighting style. His fighting style is awesome. The fact that he actually got like punched was insane. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, it's about to go down. But really, the people that kind of like stole the arc away, like the spotlight, were, in my opinion, the lieutenants of Tsubaki, and also I forget what their name is, like the Rappo or something. But like those guys in the suits,
Yes.
like those guys are fucking awesome. They're so cool.
Dude, and it's like you got like a really cool cast with cool designs, and you just
Mhm.
drop like a whole nother group of like dripped out, sweet ass characters. I'm like, yo, Windbreaker does not miss. They were really cool. I feel like they were the stars of this arc as well. Like
Yeah.
the um the bad guys per se,
Hmm.
which they're not really bad guys, they're just they're hustling, trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
Like they were really cool, they were relatable. I thought it was good. I'm more excited for what's next. I think the bad guys coming up are definitely going to be probably the most like evil dudes we've seen so far, but also the toughest test.
It seems like what's coming up is gonna be really nice because it's kind of going away from the friendship. Yes, good. You know what I mean? Into the all right. Let's get serious. Let's lock in. Let's get some of the kings. Let's get Umemiya back, and let's start fighting for real. You know what I mean? I feel like the heavy hitters are gonna come out. We're gonna see some badass fights, and it's against people that you want to see get their heads kicked in. You know what I mean? It's not against people who are like, yo, bro's starving. Like, you want to pull that punch a little bit? Like, you can hear stomach growling. Like,
Yes.
I feel bad. You know what I mean? Like, it feels weird. Now we're against psychopaths that fucking deserve it. We have the big guns coming out. So, like, this arc, I think this one was really good. This next arc, I am really excited to because we're just changing the pace. You know what I mean? And what's awesome is that we've had like 3 different arcs in the season, which I think is pretty fucking sick. And they weren't like too similar either, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I think it ultimately accomplished the objective of like getting us a little more familiar with the other characters, and
Yeah.
like you said, the lieutenants and people like Subaki and Kaji. Like, he's a
Hmm.
pretty big force on like that second year squad. Like, we've gotten to know them, kind of their fighting styles, a little bit of their backgrounds. You're right; it sets us up perfectly to like get back into like Umamiya and some of the big dogs, and like kind of have fear and be tested by this next group that they're gonna go up against.
For the most part, we've only interacted with 2 out of the 4 kings, right?
I forget the other guy's name with like the spiky hair.
Yeah, we've met him, Subaki. We've seen their fight styles. The third one we know about, like their design has been leaked, like we've seen them in the anime. The fourth one though is a
Yeah.
mystery, is it not? I remember they were talking about the 4 kings, and he was like shadowed out, or whoever they are.
Yeah, I don't know. And like didn't really go back through the manga to like investigate, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after the season, but yeah, I don't think they have been revealed yet.
Hopefully, it's gonna be this arc. I actually like how Windbreaker's doing that. Doing like, hey, instead of one season being one arc, it's like one season could be like a couple arcs. But season one, for the most part, was kind of like that. It was like what 2 arcs. The Shistoran arc got kind of dragged on for a little too long. We even said that it was good,
Yeah.
but it was like 2 episodes, 3 episodes too long. So like, I like how they're having shorter arcs. I think it's like really cool, especially when you have like an anime that has this many badass, sick designed characters. You kind of want to interact with them, you know what I mean? You want them to have their screen time, have them interact with Sakura. So the fact that we're doing these smaller arcs that is like revolving around different people, amazing. Like so good. Like I'm loving it.
Yeah, dude, me too. Season two's been great, and you're right. Like, it's really cool that we've gotten like a lot of different vibes through this season and like
Mm-hmm.
different characters and stuff. Because it makes the world feel a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
But also, yeah, you're exactly right. You got these badass characters like the twin lieutenants. Like, you got to interact with them. You got to give them screen time and let them shine. And Windbreaker does that very well. So I'm hyped to see kind of how they do that moving forward, and like if we do get that other that fourth king introduced, or if it's just kind of the cast that we have now going at it.
Yeah, I wonder if Endo was a former king, or if he was a former like Furin leader. You know, he was the Imamiya like predecessor or whatever. Because like, he seems like
I do
he's.
have the
Oh,
I have the answer. Yeah, I do know the answer to that.
we
You're,
can't.
man, you're a smart guy. My man's
We're not.
cooking.
We're not gonna get into it. We're not gonna get into it.
Smart guy. Well
But
done.
you can
Well
tell
done.
he's involved somehow because like the way he talked about Fury and Tsubaki recognized them and like knew him. So like, it seems like he might be, if I'm gonna guess here, don't say anything. He's Furin's like dark past maybe. The way he kind of gives off those vibes because he kind of looks like the guy from Tokyo Revengers, Mikey. He gives off those Mikey vibes with the tats and the way he's kind of just like the way he kind of like sits, you know what I mean, and his kind of like
Yeah.
aura. But he kind of gives off more of like the darker version, obviously. But Tsubaki's like, "Yo, I'll fuck you up, leave now," type of shit. So I'm really excited to get more into him. Maybe we'll get more about Furin through him. That's going to be an awesome arc. I cannot wait. I'm guessing it's not going to be just a couple of episodes. I'm guessing this is going to spill into season 3.
I would assume. I would think it would be a lot longer because there's only a couple episodes left. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like 2 or 3. Like we're towards the end here.
Yeah. So it'll probably be a really good build up. But you're right. Subaki did recognize him, so I think that's a perfect way to like kind of look into it.
Yeah.
Get us excited for our next arc.
Before we move on from Windbreaker, I do want to say what an arc to show Sakura's growth. Bro has definitely grown a ton as a leader and as a fighter. Bro was locked in on this fight, fucking shit up, and the older guys in the suits, I think he impressed them a ton. Like they were like shocked by Sakura. They're like, shit, this kid's like in the fight. He's fucking shit up. He's protecting. Like he's there helping out everybody. Like he saved like 9 of those guys. You know what I mean? He's putting in the work. We're like, oh my god, this kid's fucking stuff up. Like, holy crap. Like he's how old? He's doing this much damage.
Yeah.
I think this was an arc where like Sakura looked like the guy. You know what I mean? He started to look like the guy where he wasn't like lost, didn't need help, wasn't like learning anything. It was like he was there.
No, you're exactly right, and like that's kind of, I mean, it's like pretty big theme like
Mhm.
through these arcs, but he's like listening and paying attention. Like his conversation with Kaji was really big. It was kind of the same as how like Umamiya was like a mentor to him. But you're right. I think it kind of showed like the growth, impressed these older guys, and they're like, "Damn, yeah, you're like what, 15 or 16?" But he's acting way more mature,
Mhm.
And who knows? They're like, "Oh, Sakura's romance radar isn't going off. Like, what's going on?"
Dude,
The
that
end
was
of that
so
was really funny too. He's like totally over his head. Love it.
Dude, dude, because they brought that up, and like that's what's so funny. Because that's a great transition into Fire Force too. But like they brought that up, where they're like, hey, like, because they're like, hey, you guys gonna like date already? And everyone's like, oh, like they would be a good pair, and everyone just looks at Sakura and like, he's not freaking out. Like this is weird.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome. It's like, oh, my man's getting a little more comfortable. You'd love to see it. Although that segue to Fire Force, phenomenal. Well done.
Hilarious. hilarious because I just watched
Dying.
Fire Force, so that part of the episode with Sister Iris had me crying when the fifth district captain came in, and she's like, yeah, like I think you should go for an older man, like leave our boy alone. She's like, why? And like I think you'd be good with Captain Obi. She's like, and they're both like, like we don't know. And he's like, I think
Work friends, you know.
yeah, probably a past somewhere there. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, I think he'd be better with Tabaki. And Tabaki, the fuck? And they're like, ugh, no, like we're good. And he's like, I like sister Iris. And she's like, well, the fifth captain's like, I'm a sister as well. That shit had me
Yo.
cry. Like, excuse me, look at the outfit.
And the whole time they're like cutting to Shinra, and he's just like, like, yeah, life is good, dude. And then Tamaki's like, ew, like disgusting, no way. And he's like, don't get it twisted. I'm the one saying no to you. Like, I prefer women like the sister. Yeah, and she's Hibana's like, yeah, I'm also a sister. Like buying her case there. I was dying.
Bro,
My man Shinra.
dude, it was so funny when she brought that up. She's like, well, I don't hate everyone in the eighth. And she was like one eyeing like Shinra. She's like, Shinra. And Shinra's like, thank you for helping us. Like at this point, he knows his role. At this point, he knows like he's just there to kind of like get her to help. You know what I mean?
That's a team player, man. Taking one for the team.
But that also had me dying. How dude, I forgot their names. The two redheads, the mechanics, were talking about like I love how Sister Iris is sitting there just smiling so innocently as she's just causing so much chaos. The whole room's like in a full on fight at this point, and the one girl's like, "Yep, it's always the innocent ones you have to be careful of." Like,
Man, those innocent types sure are scary, man. That's crazy. Yeah, Vulcan, and I always forget her name. She's
yes,
a sick
Vulcan.
character, but yeah, I can never remember her name. And then of course, we got the flaming mole busting through the floor, and
Yep.
he's like, "Is all you guys do just fight?" I was like, perfect timing right there.
Well, before we even get to that, speaking of like underground and shit, Arthur's parents are back. Like, what's up with that? Like, can you imagine?
Bro, the whole time, I
God.
was like waiting to get trolled.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It was like, is this real? Like, this is definitely Arthur's parents.
Yeah.
Just the whole vibe of that conversation definitely fit.
I was waiting for it like to be a disguise or like a hallucination or something like that. But like no, they just went into the delusional fantasy into the nether and then just found his parents and they're as weird as Arthur is. And then Arthur, God bless him. God bless his soul. Oh my God, bless his soul. Gets abandoned twice and just doesn't realize it. Like oh my God, Arthur, bro. I feel so bad for him. I love how Maki's like trying to like cheer him up. She like realizes like, hey, you met your family. That's awesome. What are you looking at? Reads the note. Hey, we're leaving you again. Oh, Arthur, I'm so. And then you look at Arthur's face, and you just got that stupid fucking expression on his face that he always does, where he thinks he's just a fucking genius and the greatest person on earth. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do with him, bro. Like, the bro's past therapy. He's just so far gone.
The definition of delusional, dude. He is committed to the bit. But that was like pretty crazy. The kind of like the lore bomb that his dad dropped.
Yeah.
And like the whole time I'm waiting for this, to be like some kind of like dream or a joke or something. And then my man's like, no, I'm legit. Like, we're not bullshitting. With the whole being a seer, I was like, oh shit, like his parents actually are legit.
No, so it's Arthur because so he kind of like knew instinctively I think to go to the Nether, and then his dad instinctively knew that he's gonna be here, and was like, hey, by the way, I know you're messing around, fucking around of finding material for your sword. I actually have material from a rocket, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like that's convenient. Like, how the fuck does that work out? Like, what are you talking about? Like, like they're so dumb, they're geniuses. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, dude. That's the perfect way to describe it. And then they're like forging this steel. Like they're like, all right, don't blow it up too much, but yeah, let's make this sword, dude. Very, very good.
Okay, so am I dumb for this? Am I kind of like just making stuff up or kind of delusional? When Obi's going around and he's having secret meetings at the end, right, with some of these captains trying to get something going, he meets that blonde guy on the bridge. That blonde guy is a traitor. And kind of looks like Arthur's dad, but with a haircut and shaved a little bit. Like, am I wrong for thinking that that was his dad? Or is that just somebody else that kind of resembled the same characteristics?
I would say no, because that never really like occurred to me. Captain Pan, I guess is his name.
He's a captain, but I don't know if he's a captain because he's a traitor. He's on the run because he apparently disobeyed orders twice because he went to save people before they needed saving. Because apparently, as a fire soldier, you need to wait, you need to react. You can't preemptively do something. And his dad's a seer, and now you're telling me this guy here saw into the future that they needed help, goes to save them, and then is deemed a traitor because he broke rules. Who else breaks rules? Oh, Arthur does. They seem very alike. And that also makes sense why his dad keeps abandoning him, because his dad's a traitor from the fire force, right? He wouldn't want to get his son involved, because especially now that his son's a fire soldier. You know what I mean? Like, you have to keep distance. You can't be close to them, or he's just going to be deemed a traitor as well, or an accomplice. So that would make sense why he's kind of like on the run. It would kind of make sense why he would like kind of play dumb a little bit. But I don't know. He is Arthur's dad, so like anything is kind of there, is kind of tossed up in the air. But like that could be kind of an act with him, kind of like, I don't know, trying to work him from the shadows type of thing. But like, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but sometimes in anime they do kind of reuse certain features. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like totally like him. There was a different haircut, and the facial hair was different. But other than that, it looked like the same guy. And that could make sense to me. I don't know.
Dude, that is a phenomenal theory though, because like
Or
they
it's
do
awful.
make
I
that
don't
point.
know.
No, I thought it was good because you're right. It's the fire squad is like reactive. You can't until
Yeah.
there's fire, like go into action. How would he know those people needed to be saved?
Yeah.
And then like to commit and be like, yeah, fuck the rules. I'm just gonna take care of these people. So that actually makes pretty good sense. I didn't look into it, but you know, maybe I was a little under the weather. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. And you're absolutely locked in. You're cooking today, my friend.
Bro, I should have like Googled this before we started talking with this, because someone could probably like have read the manga and be like, yo, these guys are dumbasses. They're talking about Arthur being stupid. Look at these guys.
Yo, so spot on.
But dude, I
In
don't
our
know. I don't know, man.
in our defense, we're anime only, you know. So
Well, used to be, for Fire Force for anime only, but getting into manga now, dude, I've been binging that shit. There's so much good stuff out there. Oh, jumping from
Heck
series
yeah,
to
dude.
series is a mess. But I think that would be really cool. And I also like how he said that. He's like, I am deemed a traitor because I disobeyed orders multiple times to save people. You're asking me to save people, and you're asking me if I'm going to help or not? Like, of course I'm going to help. Fuck them. You know what I mean? He's like, what else are they going to do? So I love how he's on board now. I love how Obi's been building his little secret network. So it's going to be awesome. And then, of course, you got to love an episode that Benimaru's in. My god, that guy's got the greatest voice actor and one of the coolest anime designs ever. Like, I absolutely love his character design. Benimaru's the man.
Benimaru is definitely the sickest character design. I think with like the eyes, just so much aura, and like I thought, Show's Guardian was really cool too, with like the arrow, like
Yeah.
pupil. I thought that was pretty sick, and that was like another kind of like big storyline. My man just said, "Fuck work, I'm gonna go do what I want." But yeah, incredible voice actor and super sick design.
Dude, it was a really cool episode, especially at the end. That's why I think it was really good to talk about it this week, because next week shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, next week, it's Endgame. The big catastrophe is coming. It is gonna be an absolute mess. The world is gonna be ending, and they're gonna somehow have to try to stop it. I think Sho is gonna meet up with Shinra, which is gonna be really cool. We're building our little secret army with the captains, which is awesome. It feels like we're coming to an end here. I would love to see Benimaru's gonna have a little upgrade before the final battle. If this is the final battle, you know what I mean? But before the next fight, I wonder if Benimaru is going to come out with something new, where we're going to be like, oh my god, he really is the god of destruction.
Yeah, I think I only know like the very, very end of it, just because I have no self-restraint and I have to know what happens. Just like a little kid. So I don't know how Benimaru fits into it, but I know there are some really, really sick like upgrades and transformations for certain characters that are really badass. But you're right, it does feel like we're kind of like building up to that final moment, that final arc. It's going to be a bummer to have to wait, for another season, but that means we get, 2 more sick songs, opening and closing, typical Fire Force.
True.
And also, I forgot to tell you this, but I wanted to mention it. We're like always talking about the sound design and how Fire Force has like the best sound effects. Why does when I forget if his name is like Speck or Spock, the like little mole,
I think it's
He like
Spock.
Spock. Yeah, I think so. I forget what
It's
it is.
SPOC, I think.
Okay. Yeah, he like pops up through the floorboard, and then as he's coming down, they just like put this huge bass drop in, and I'm like, oh, that was like so over the top and extra, but so badass. Like, absolutely loved it.
Well, it's the same thing with what Sister Sumere or whatever her name is when she like does the earthquake when she's like they're like all right do it she's like all right fuck it and then boom and it just goes and ripples like that was sick as well like dude the sound effects in Fire Force are just like so grossly good it's so on point it's amazing and another season is gonna be phenomenal. So I'm not gonna lie, the anime gets hyped. I love the anime. It is so good, especially this season. I think this season really stepped it up a notch, and we gotta see Arthur with his new sword, bro. Oh my god, it's gonna be so
Yes.
clean.
Yeah, dude, I'm super excited. I think this season is what really like took Fire Force to the next level for me. I think they took another step, but
hmm
you could just feel things. This is such a bad pun, but heating up. Yeah,
So
I had to. That's so fucking low effort.
well,
Oh,
dude,
but
but
yeah,
they do
you
that
can,
shit all the time too, where they make like heat puns, and it's just like, oh, bro, it's.
come on, so low effort. But yeah, like yeah, and like they're keeping like the comedy and some of like the funny aspects, but you can feel the like drama and the tension really building up. Very excited for Sho and Shinra to meet up with each other too.
And to hopefully team up. That would be amazing.
Ooh, yes, that would be sick.
But is there anything else you want to say before we exit out here?
Just it's been sick, man. I cannot wait to see where To Be Hero X goes and
Oh my
kind of
god.
like all the little like Easter eggs and cameos, we
hmm
get here and there. Windbreaker is definitely, heating up, but it's gonna leave us with a cliffhanger. Hopefully we get some action with this other group and then yeah, Fire Force 2 hype. Cannot wait.
Yeah, this season has been absolutely phenomenal. We say it literally every week because every week it literally is phenomenal. I mean, I cannot wait to dive into some of these other animes. The animes that we don't necessarily talk about on the pod, I'm like, all right, I don't like have to watch it. So like, I kind of wait, let the dub build up a little bit, and then kind of binge it. I'm so excited to do that for a couple of the animes this season because there are so many animes this season that are so good. But I'm more excited too for the summer season. If you guys didn't see it, check it out. We dropped a video talking about the summer season preview where we talk about all the animes, or at least 90% of them, that are going to be coming out in the summer season, and they are going to be awesome. Also, I'm with you earlier. We're streaming tomorrow. I cannot wait to watch a bunch of these anime trailers. I've seen a couple of them, sent them to you. I'm like, dude, like, the shit looks phenomenal. There's another Gachi Akuto one that looks like really. I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting until tomorrow to watch it. But it looks like it's gonna be amazing. I think that is gonna be one of the lower key, most hyped up animes of the summer season. Like the fan base for it seems ecstatic, and it seems like from the trailers that everyone's very, very, very happy because it's such a weird manga that would easily be translated into an anime, but it seems like it's being adapted very well with both the VA. I heard the VA is going all out and they sound phenomenal. The animation and then hopefully the story. So I am very, very excited about that one. But you guys haven't checked it out again, go check out the summer preview. It was a pretty packed video, but amazing season. Another amazing season coming. Hope you guys are able to watch it all. Hope you guys are enjoying, but that is it. Have a safe and fun week, everybody. Have an anime-filled week, everybody. And that's it. See you guys later. And peace.